Hey guys, it's CSB Hollis here. With a new channel, I started brainstorming a couple ideas and what I want to do in this channel. And I started doing a podcast. That'll be the first upload I have on the channel. And the second one, which will be this one, will be the second idea which I had, which I already have on my Rate Your Music account, which is also just TSB Hollis, where I go through my top 20 albums of each year. And so far, I have done 2010, 11, and 16 through to 19. I'm working on 12 to 15, so I can make my decades list. But at the moment, we're at 2010s, which includes my favorite album of all time. It might be pretty obvious. Hang on. Oh, it's right there. But enough about that. Let's get into the rankings. Before we get into the actual list, by the way, you can find the list with all my proper ratings, rankings, with all the genres. Down below in the description, I'll put the link to my Rate Your Music list. But before I get into the actual top 20, I want to give out some honorable mentions that didn't quite make the cut or actually haven't listened to enough that maybe if I listened to a bit more, I'd have it higher up. So the albums I want to name, The Daughter's self-titled, Interloper by Carbon-Based Lifeforms, Lumen by Deep Chord Present Echo Space, MGMT's Congratulations, The Wild Hunt from The Tallest Man on the Earth, The National's High Violet, Death Spell Omega's Paracletus, and probably my favorite out of the bunch, Swans' My Father Will Guide Me Up a Rope to the Sky. At number 20, we have Ruben Hauer's It Will Deepen in the Fall, which is the translation of I don't know, but it will say there it is a Finnish hip-hop album. Although I didn't really understand the lyrics because I am not Finnish. The flows on here were quite excellent, but the beats on here were what stood out to me. They had a bunch of almost soul-y and boom-bap very influenced beats. And the rapper, the MC, just wrote on them perfectly. 19, we have Tame Impala's debut album, Innerspeaker. Although a lot less psychedelic and acid-like, there is still a ton of effects that Kevin Parker has managed to put on this thing without sounding bloated and without sounding too outdone. It is quite a nice, compact, psychedelic rock album that would later be improved in releases to come. Number 18 is Kid Cudi's Man on the Moon 2, The Legend of Mr. Rager. I used to not actually think this was anywhere close up here, but after constant listens, I just got hooked on it. Great tracks like Erase Me, Mr. Rager. They're just some great anthemic pop rap tracks that just define the genre. Overall, it's still got that art pop and neo psychedelia sound, while keeping it simple in the basic rap roots with Kanye, and you've got Mr. Hudson. You've got a couple other features on here who really add to the album and is almost at the peak of Kid Cudi's career. Although I do not think this is as good as Man on the Moon 1, it is still up there on his discography. 17, we have Alex G's Race. It's a singer-songwriter, lo-fi slacker rock album. It's bittersweet, it's lo-fi, it's melodic, it's melancholic. It's just a lot of heartbreak and resemblance of people like Neutral Milk Hotel and Car Seat Headrest. Although some of the tracks on here aren't as strong as his later releases, he still manages to create this perfect vibe and carry this beautiful scene of misfortune and heartbreak. The highlights were probably most of the album, but there were a couple turnoffs, which was TV, time and space, but honestly, I can get past that because the rest of the album is freaking incredible. 16, we have Arcade Fire's The Suburbs. Quite amazing. A lot to love about it. Great concept. and it always just catches a re-listen here and then. It's an indie rock, chamber pop, indie pop, post-punk revival album. It mashes all of those genres just perfectly. I love the Suburbs. We used to Fool, Sprawl 2. I just feel like there's a couple weak tracks. I wouldn't say this are weak tracks, but a lot of average tracks like Rococo or Month of July. But overall, a very solid album, and definitely is important in their discography, in their very widely accepted discography. People might be surprised at how low this is. Same thing with the next record, especially as I love both the two artists who are coming up. But number 15, the first one out of the two, is LCD Soundsystem's This Is Happening. Dance punk, indie tronica, new wave. Dance Yourself Clean is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard, hands down. It would probably be on my top 100 songs of all time. That is just how good it is. But I feel like the album doesn't flow together. It sometimes just feels like a compilation of tracks. I know this isn't the same with other people, but I like an album more fluent and progresses stage by stage, song after song. But apart from that, it is a fantastic record, and that is why it has made it top 15 on my list. The second artist that you might be surprised at being this low is Sufjan Stevens, The Age of Ads. And although Sufjan is one of my favorite singer-songwriters, he does take a quite progressive art poppy type take on this album. Although it's not that I don't like it, I actually love how he just takes a different turn on this album. I just feel like it loses me a little bit in the middle. But overall, it's an incredible album. My favorite is probably Futile Devices, backed up with I Walked, Age of Ads. But if I had to mention a couple that I wasn't the biggest fan of, probably Now That I'm Older. But overall, great album. At number 13, we have the Russian, another international abstract hip hop album called Bird Eating by a group called Bird EM. And although this is meant to be a comedy rap, a parody, humorous, it still is quite a great album. I mean, the flows on here are still great, but I mean, it being Russian obviously does put it a little bit lower, but the beats on here are legit some of the greatest abstract beats I have ever heard. If I had to compare it to anything, it would probably be maybe a couple of Mike's later albums or Milo's earlier albums. It's just the beats are there, they're prevalent, they're eclectic. It's just different each time, but overall, it is very enjoyable and quite an impressive album, if instrumental-wise. At the 12th spot on this list, we have We Are Here Because We Are Here by Anathema, who is actually one of my dad's favorite alternate rock, progressive rock bands. It is quite spiritual, melodic, uplifting, but it also has that atmospheric and bittersweet taste, still in the roots of the album. Quite obvious throughout the track list. And it includes some of my favorite lyrics to, be sung, actually. One being, hesitate when I feel I may do harm. Watch it all because this feeling we can share. Once you look at the meaning through it, it makes sense. And overall, an incredible alt rock. I do love me some alt rock and some prog rock. But this does take a really weird and very bright take. But overall, an incredible record. One to look at if you're trying to get into the alt-rock, prog-rock scene. Before we get into the top 10, obviously we have to fill up that 11th spot. A post-hardcore, J-rock, math rock, emo, alt-rock fusion of genres with Ling, Tosite, Sigure's still a Sigure version. it's an amazing Japanese album. I can't obviously say much about the lyrics, but the lyrics aren't what the main focus on here is. It's the harsh emo melodies. It's the crisp instrumentals and the effects that are placed on the guitar. If I had to say anything, it's like the Japanese. It's like the emo version of Fishman's. I loved I Was Music, Symmetry, EF. There's not really any turn-offs for me. It's just a solid and lovable record. Every album from here, I don't really have any problems. But yeah, just an incredible record. Number 10. We have K.R.I.T Was Here by Big K.R.I.T. A southern hip-hop, a dirty south hip-hop album. It is what Big Boy tried to do on his record, but a lot freaking better. Big Boy also released probably his most critically acclaimed solo album in 2010. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Why? Because it was outshined by this beast of an album. There's obviously a lot of cast and blue influence on here. Country shit, Hometown Hero, Children of the World, No Wheaties, Never Go Back, As a Small as a Giant. There's so many incredible tracks. But I feel like if I had to point out anything, there are a couple tracks on here that you could say are filler, but that's what you'd expect for a hip hop album that's as long as this is. Or I'm pretty sure it's a little bit over an hour. Or it's almost like a mixtape. But yeah, there's nothing I could really say apart from that. But it's just a great record. Number 9, Deerhunter's Halycon Digest, a neo-psychedelia, indie rock, dream pop record. One that I listened to early in my music listening, around when I was 11. This album has stuck with me for a long time. It's one of those albums that you don't have to be on drugs to feel that psychedelic feeling. It really is. It's a beautiful, mellow, soothing, atmospheric, psychedelic album that you can just put your headphones onto. You don't even have to put it max volume. Just put it on and just let the music take over your mind. Revival and Desire Lines are a couple of my favorite songs of all time. Yeah, this is an incredible album to listen to if you're looking into the psychedelia side of music. Numero 8, we have nearly put up 9. We have Janelle Monae's The ArchAndroid, her debut record. A fantastic, futuristic sci-fi. It's a great concept record with the sounds of contemporary R&B, art, pop, and neo-soul. She was really in the running for one of the best female singers in that genre at the time. She was really in there to compete with the best of the best. You can hear a lot of influence of people like Kate Bush. But you can hear there's a lot of production side behind it. There's a really good Big Boy feature on this that actually, individually, that just brought the popularity onto Janelle Monae. As Big Boy is, well, one of the most popular rappers of all time. And the Cold War and Dance or Die, Faster, Locked Inside, especially Cold War, it just perfectly depicts what this album is about. There's only one problem maybe I have with this is Wonderland. A lot of people do actually like it. I think that track sucks. But apart from that, every single song bangs. It's fluent all the way through. The mixing and the mastering is perfect. And overall, just an incredible R&B, neo-soul, art pop record. At number 7, we're only starting to get into the really, really high highs of this year. We have the Good Friday sessions, which were a mixtape or a group of songs that were released every Friday in the My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy sessions. A lot of incredible songs like Good Friday, Christian Dior Flow. It also had the original recordings of Monster, Devil in a New Dress, Runaway. So Appalled. It had a lot of remixes of songs that Kanye had worked on in the past. Heavy Hitters remixes on here. This is just a great set of songs. I wouldn't call it an album. It's just a mixtape. It's just a great collection of tracks. It's like a compilation, and it really works well when you have it in the context of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. From here on are all albums that I consider a 4.5 star out of 5, which for me is a near perfect album, or 5 is just a perfect album. So to start that off so I need to get another ring light. I'm going to put one there because it's stuffing on, because I have one there and it's dark here, light here. But enough about that. Let's get into number 6, which is Flying Lotus's Cosmogramma, an IDM glitch hop, wonky, new jazz, instrumental hip hop, just a futuristic, chaotic space. It's just rhythmic. It's just sampling at its finest. Do the actual playing. And a couple of my favorite instrumental tracks through the decade, maybe ever. Like, honestly, this album is just a perfect listen if you just want to listen to something, and not almost chill, but just something to have on the background while working on something. This is really the album. This is really the album that really got me into intelligence dance music and glitch hop and stuff like that. It really helped me get into people like Sweet Trip. It helped me get into people like Portishead. I'm just gonna speed that up. Anyway, yeah. At number 5, we're getting into the top 5. We have a Midwest emo, experimental rock, math rock. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Just Got Back from the Discomfort, We're All Right by the brave little Abacus. I wasn't expecting much when I got into this, and sure, a lot of people can think, oh, the lyrics are a bit meh, and the meaning's a bit meh, and also the vocals can be a bit jarring, but for me personally, I just don't think that. I honestly think that this is a great set of tracks that from start to beginning show a lot of emotion, a lot of anxious emotion, a lot of deep and introspective moments. It's quite passionate, but it still has that bittersweet feel, and overall it's just kind of existential. It's kind of like a why are we here moment. But I don't think there's really anything else to say. It's just incredible. If you're trying to get into that more experimental and emo side, there's also people like Touche and Monae who are kind of like this, and also the Brave Little Abacus's other record. But great album, great album. Honestly, this is just one that grew on me a lot. I used to always think that Demon Days was maybe the best, or their self-titled debut. No, it is number 4, Plastic Beach, by far. It is a beautiful electro pop and art pop record. It has a lot of influence of hip hop and pop rap in general, and it's really an album that grows on you the longer you get. Melancholy Hill is probably a top 50 song of all time for me. I love that song. It's just a very eclectic, summer, warmy type album. It's quite playful. The instrumentals are, I could say repetitive at times, but that's just because it's pop, right? It really brings this really catchy and famous poppy wannabe side, mixed with this incredible experimental type phase that Gorillaz can just go through, just mashes them together. You've had the previous records, nothing sounds like this record. This record is phenomenal. One that grew on me. Originally wasn't even on my top 20, or maybe but lower down the list. Now it is smack bang on 4. I haven't really ever heard many albums around this time actually produce something at this high quality. And the fact that this is only number 4 shocks me. Like, the year 2010 was absolutely stacked, obviously. But I don't want to waffle on too much about this album. Let's get into the top 3. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please stand up for the top 3? Can we get a little bit of a drum roll? Number 3, we have Monae, from a noise pop Japanese shoegaze group, Shinsei Kamattechan, who have also started doing anime work with their music, but also just in general. And this album is just, it's androgynous, it's self-hatred, it's fully, like, it's depressive, it's misanthropic, I described it in 5 words: sad, life, hatred towards myself. That is what this album feels like. It's almost kind of like the Little Abacus, the Little Abacus album. But this one just, it's shoegaze, it's fully dreamy, but it's noisy, and it's just, it really brings the emotions out of you, not in a way that you'd expect it to, though. It's something that just came up in my life, and it came up at the perfect time. I love this album, love it to bits. I'm actually surprised it's not number 2. I thought it was going to be number 2, and then I realized what's number 2 going to be, and yeah. Monae is most likely a top 100, or around the top 100, near the bottom area, is definitely near there, but it being 3, yes, sure, it does feel low. If it was on another year list, it would probably be higher, but it's not, because these next 2 albums are 5 out of 5s, perfect, hands down, just nothing is wrong about them. And to start off with number 2, we have Beach House's Teen Dream. It's just, it's perfect. It really is. It is a soothing, romantic, ethereal, mellow, melancholic, dreamy indie pop record. It is just fantastic. It is filled to the brim with incredible production and tracks. Silver Soul has the sample for Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, the lead single of Kendrick's Good Kid, Mad City. And a lot of the songs on here are just, the guitar is perfect, the production is here, the duo really just play at the top game. And although the other discography are like Seven or Bloom or Depression Cherry, they're still quite great records, but this one is just the one that stands out. If I just looking for a fun album, I'll listen to this one. It's got a sick DVD as well. I haven't seen this live, but I've seen YouTube videos of this live, and it looks perfect. Like, it is angelic. It is just, there's only one word to describe this: perfect. But not as perfect as the number 1 album. I think you're gonna know what it is. My number 1 album is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Whoa, I said it. Look, Kanye came back, perfect as ever. Runaway is the greatest song of all time. Kanye West is the greatest artist of all time. This is the album that got me into music. As much as people may crap on this album or Anthony Fanta, who cares if Anthony gives it a 6? I don't care. I don't care. He gave Lil Pump's album higher rating than this. His opinions don't matter. Joking. I love you, Anthony, if you somehow managed to see this. But My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy keeps on climbing higher up in the ranks. It is just an album that is always on my mind. It's always on other people's minds. A lot of people have had it on their number 1 album of all time, number 1 hip-hop album of all time, or still have it there. This is just the album that got me into music. And I wouldn't even say it's fully hip-hop. Yeah, sure, it's hip-hop, but it is fully artsy. It's fully epic, boastful, passionate. It's still got that hedonistic themes. Kanye really just thought this up in Chicago and was like, do you know what? I'm in the worst place ever. I'm going to go to Rome. It's boring. I'm going to go to Japan. Goes to Japan like, do you know what? this thing that I thought up in Chicago, let's go to Hawaii, let's record the greatest album ever with some of the greatest B-sides ever, which are on the Good Friday sessions, which I also recently mentioned. This is just the greatest thing to ever exist. It is. Hands down. I know a lot of people are like, but it's got Hell of a Life or the second half. Shut up. Okay? This is the greatest album of all time. And I know for a lot, I could understand why people wouldn't have this as their greatest, but for me, it always just has that personal favoritism over it, and that's what music's all about. It's all about bias, right? That's what an opinion is. My bias is towards this album because I love it that much, right? So I'm going to give it all the props that I believe it deserves. And I did a 3,000 word review on it. It will be in the link down below. But yeah. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to be doing more videos like this. Let me know what other type music videos you want me to do. If there are any albums you want me to review. If there are any certain years you really want me to do a top 20 on. Let me know. Down in the comments. Please subscribe, like, share, do whatever. Make this video get that extra view. Share it to your friends. Share it to your mum. Share it to your dad. Share it to your grandfather. Share it to the biggest music nerds. Peace out. It's TSP Hollers. Yeah, see ya.